Hi ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the ScreenPlayers YouTube channel. Now, I will keep this intro very short because there's nothing I hate more than long intros. We thought it would be nice to give you a few highlights of what we talked about on ScreenPlayers' latest podcast, which went live on Twitch and YouTube last Thursday. I have split this video into two clips. The first clip is where we talked about the latest news, namely the PlayStation 5 controller, Phil Spencer, which is the head of the Xbox, giving a few hints about the Xbox Series X's price, as well as Google Stadia being free for 2 months. The second clip is where we talked about the games we've been playing and why we think that they are worth your time. Now, without further ado, let's go and watch. Pretty much. There's a lot of stuff that we need to cover today, actually, because true story, 2 days ago, it was 9 p.m.-ish in the UK. So we have our first comment right away by someone that we know, but I'm going to read it in a second. So true story, I was on the phone with this person that just commented, by the way, talking about a video game that I'm currently playing, and we are going to talk about it today. I'm very excited. And I'm scrolling through Twitter as I talk, and I see a PS5 controller. Allegedly a PS5 controller. It kind of looks weird. It kind of looks fake. So the first thing I'm saying is, the first thing I'm thinking is, yeah, that's not real. It's just like doctored somehow. But then I Googled it, and no, in fact, it was real. It is the real deal. So for those of you, we are a little late with this because it's been covered. But for those of you who haven't seen it yet, here we go.
The DualSense.
The DualSense. Yes, correct. Correct. Now, my first impact with this was like, whew, I was like, what the hell? But then...
I share your view. It seems fake. At first it seemed fake.
Right? Do you remember those like cheap Mad Catz controllers? Does it not look like one of those?
Yeah, it does.
That's the thing I thought. So, but then, the more I looked at it these days, it's kind of growing on me.
I'm going to be honest. From the off, I quite liked it.
Okay, fair enough.
I did quite like it. Yeah.
I think it's sleek.
Because as well, like obviously there it's white. That's like the image they've released. But then there was some guy on the internet done like a load of different designs. Like he put like a Spider-Man design on there, and then he put like a Call of Duty kind of design, and they did look sick. And I thought there's only a matter of time until Sony really like start releasing that. I thought, oh yeah, actually I can dig this. This is quite a cool controller. Cool controller,
right? No, but that's the thing. That's what I thought, right? So I don't like the white. As in, I like the white in a picture, but let's face it, team, I've got sweaty hands. That thing's gonna get gross really quickly.
I didn't think about that.
At least you said sweaty.
Think about it though. If you are not sweating profusely holding your controller, you're not gaming properly.
That's quite right, actually.
Very true.
Can we address the elephant in the room? That's clearly a combination of the Xbox controller and a DualShock.
Boom. That's where you wanted.
It screams Xbox controller all over it.
And that's where I wanted you, because, guys, a lot of people on Twitter are pointing out the same. I kind of pointed out the same on my Twitter. It does, remind you a little bit of, in terms of width, a little bit of the Xbox controller. I've got actually a side-to-side comparison that we can look at. I'm just going to bring it up really quickly. Here we go.
Well, yeah.
Oh, you came prepared.
Right. So you've got the Xbox. By the way, that's the new Xbox Series X controller. So that's the next gen controller for the Xbox, and the next gen controller for the PlayStation. As we can all see, the Xbox controller is pretty much the same.
Yeah.
We're like, let's add a share button there.
I used to have an Xbox.
Yeah.
And I did actually find it quite comfortable to hold, if I'm honest. If my memory serves me.
100%.
I remember thinking it was quite comfortable.
100%.
So I'm not too worried about that.
I've kind of like the position of the thumbsticks though of the Xbox versus the Dual Shock. Pardon me, the DualSense. I need to get used to this. So the DualSense sounds dodgy, by the way. Yeah. So, by the way, I've got a side view. So see, I really came prepared here.
Spoilers, Lorenzo. You do spoilers,
right? So what I can tell, I've been looking at this controller a lot. I'll tell you what I think that I like, right? So I liked the fact that it's got a USB-C. Clearly, you can see it here.
Yep.
Finally, because I hate micro USBs.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, amen.
Right?
Yeah, we're all in agreement on that.
Yeah, I mean, then I was reading that apparently this thing has got a mic built in.
Mm-hmm.
So,
so you're just straight into like speaking rather than fiddling around.
Exactly. And I was thinking, that is a cool feature. But then on the same token, I was thinking, hang on, how long is it going to take for people to mute the guy speaking on its controller and clicking at the same time on Fortnite? Right. So that's what I'm thinking also, but we'll see. I mean, maybe they made it work somehow. I mean, all in all, it's sleek. I really like it. It seems a little bigger than a normal DualShock 4, but yeah.
Yeah, I can dig it.
Right. Do you know what's the coolest feature of this controller that I'm looking forward to?
Go on.
So, apparently...
Can I take a guess?
Here we go.
Is it that it's like the R and L pad are touch sensitive, so like how you can control like the lighter you squeeze, the lighter it is.
Bingo. So the thing is that it's got haptic feedback, meaning say you're drawing a string of the bow, you're gonna feel resistance on the trigger.
Yeah.
Right? Or like, say you're driving a car through mud, or maybe your character through mud, you're going to find a little bit of resistance. By the way, we've got a comment from Carl Versetti, say they did a good thing to copy the Xbox controller, it's just too good. And Carl, you're right. 100%. I mean, Rick was saying, and I was saying as well, we actually like the Xbox controller. It actually feels really, really comfortable. So yeah,
I think so.
I agree. I think, Claudio, you are a fan of the Xbox controller, aren't you?
I am a very big fan, yeah. Surprisingly. Right? I'm a Sony boy, Nintendo boy, and yet my favorite controller is indeed the Xbox controller.
Yeah.
Right, well then, enough about the PS5. We've got some news still to cover here before we get into the main thing today. And now, what I'm thinking, to be honest with you, is that, Phil Spencer, for those of you who do not know what Phil Spencer is the head of Xbox, right? He had an interview last week at Podcast Unlocked, and it was very weird because he phrased the thing about pricing, in a weird way. He said that they're basically keeping it agile, as in, I think he's got the approval. I mean, he made it sound that way. He's got the approval from Satya Nadella, which is the CEO at Microsoft, to kind of like be on the fence. What I think they're trying to do between Sony and Microsoft, they're trying to see who blinks first and then adjust accordingly.
Yeah.
So,
quite possibly, yeah.
Right?
That would make financial sense, I guess.
It would. It most definitely would. The thing that I'm kind of like confused about, by the way, is that like, why don't we know more at this stage, right? I've got, this is, by the way, for those of you who don't know it, this is how the Xbox Series X look. Ooh, right?
I haven't seen it, so this is the first time I've seen it.
Did you not? Yeah. Here we go. It's basically a PC.
It does look a bit like a tower.
Yeah, exactly. So apparently there's a big fan on top, which kind of cools the whole thing down. Full specs is pretty impressive. It's going to be actually, I mean, on paper, it's going to be more powerful than the PS5, but it's not just about the teraflops here. Anywho, so yeah, everyone here thought that the Xbox Series X was going to be, a pricey console. But now, after what Phil Spencer said last week, we're actually thinking that this might be quite, I wouldn't say cheap, but cheaper than initially thought. And especially considering the PS5. I think each company wants to try and undercut the other in terms of price.
Yeah.
So that will make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Very, very quickly, because obviously we're going to cover this in the future, but what do you like? What do you guys like, or what are your thoughts about next-gen consoles? Like, is there one in particular there? Kind of like...
Well, we've not had a lot of PS5
news
stuff released.
Yeah.
The controller is, I think, as far as I'm aware, is the first thing that we kind of really officially know.
100%.
But like we've seen a little bit of Xbox stuff, and it's like, do you know what? It looks pretty good. Like I've not been on Xbox for a long time, but it's good.
Yeah.
I like and I don't hate that look. I don't hate that. I think that looks good.
So you dig the look. We'll talk about that plenty in the episodes to come. There's just one final big piece of news that came out, I think, today. I just saw it on Google. Basically, Google Stadia, for those of you who are into streaming, is going to be free for 2 months. Stadia Pro. So free for 2 months. I've got actually the announcement here somewhere. Here we go. So play Stadia Pro for free starting today. So as of the next 48 hours, they're going to roll these out. And yeah, we just need to sign up at stadia.com. And you've got Destiny 2 apparently included with the offer. So instant access to 9 games. Greed, Destiny 2, the collection, and Thumper. And you can, of course, purchase more games in store. So if you are someone who was into or intrigued by Stadia, it's there. So
I really hate that controller.
That controller looks. I'm not gonna lie. That controller looks cheap.
Yeah. I really hate the look of it.
I make you right there. But that was all the news that we had to cover, by the way. Right?
Phil Spencer is not here.
Phil Spencer's not here. I'm sorry. We
It'll be by next episode.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So that was the news, and now moving on swiftly to the second part, which is the games we're playing at the minute. I hope you enjoy this one. All of us, not just all of us, everyone pretty much in the world is in lockdown, and right, and it's universal, the collective. We're all spending a lot of time at home, and we thought, what games are we playing right now, and what games are you guys playing right now? So I'm gonna start first, because I am uber excited about this. I am playing a game which has been sitting, underneath my Xbox or next to it for a long time. I purchased it, put it there, did not start it, finally got myself to start it last week. It's Control, which is a game from Remedy, fairly recent, came out actually in 2019. What you're seeing right now, it's their trailer. So that's the thing. What do I think about this game?
She can fly.
She can fly. She can do a lot of stuff. So, I am a Resident Evil Silent Hill fan.
Yeah.
And I've got to say, this game kind of, I don't know if it's just me, but kind of combines the best of both worlds in that sense. So it's creepy, it's spooky. The story is actually quite, not charming, but it intrigued me straight from the start. You are in a building called The Oldest House, and you're stepping in there to search for your lost brother. Now, what happens is, straight away, as soon as you step into the oldest house, you are made the director because the director shoots himself.
Oh,
and
fun.
Right? So that's the thing. You basically are discovering, well, trying to discover where is your brother, but also this oldest house, which is part of the Federal Bureau of Control, is under attack by a sort of like a paranatural force called a hiss, which controls people. You've got superpowers, as you can see from the actual footage, and you can unlock more powers as you go along with the game and the story. That's the thing. Now, I think the game is really, really good.
It looks cool.
It looks good, right? Graphics-wise, by the way, it's kind of like next gen almost. Admittedly, on PS4, on the base PS4 and the base Xbox, I mean, those two consoles will experience some hiccups. I'm not gonna lie, but Xbox One X, I'm already getting confused with names. Xbox One X actually it's pretty fine running it. Best experience, of course, will be on a PC with next gen graphic cards and stuff. But you guys will be intrigued to know that this game is actually available right now on PS Now. Which, right? For those of you who don't know what PS Now is Sony's own streaming service. You can get a week free, by the way, signing up. So I actually think it's a pretty good deal. This game is very recent. I was very surprised when they put it on PS Now. And definitely, if you have not signed up yet, you really should, because this game, deserves a lot of attention, in my opinion.
Yeah, it looks good, man.
Right? I'm actually going to bring all of us up. It was nominated, by the way. No, it wasn't nominated. It was with the other nominees at the Game of the Year Awards in 2019. It didn't win, but it was there.
Wow.
Okay. Nice.
So, yeah. By the way, if you're wondering who won that award, I
was wondering.
Is Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice from Software, which are the people from Dark Souls. If you didn't know,
that is my least favorite of their games.
Have you tried it?
Yeah, I've been playing it. Started playing it a couple of months ago.
Interesting. Actually, I'm gonna go off camera because I'm gonna show you something. I've actually got it. It's still wrapped, so I haven't played it yet. It's there.
It's waiting.
It's gonna be right after Control, I think, because you know me, I still have The Witcher going strong, guys. I've been playing that game for months. Literally months. By the way, there's a comment here. Control is fantastic. This is off of Twitch, by the way. Control is fantastic. Nevertheless, I would hang the map designer by the balls, honestly.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
What is that? Give them a medal for that.
I will give them a medal for that. Top comment so far. Top comment so far. And it is 100% right. The map is hideous. It's just hideous. Also, the game does not help you at all, by the way. The tutorial pretty much does not exist. So let me tell you that you're up for a challenge if you start a game. I still think you should be giving that game a chance. It's got a very high score, pretty much across the board on Metacritic. And definitely pick that up. What are you, Rick, playing? Because I actually do know the answer, and I'm excited about it.
So I am playing Horizon Zero Dawn. This is a bit like you, Lorenzo. I have had this literally sitting on my shelf for ages.
Right.
I'm not I'm not a gamer that gets in there every day. So when I pick up a game, I have to love it. And initially, I was sold on this game. I love it. I love the visuals. As you can see here, I love the world. It's basically set in the 31st century, and it's there were these predecessors to these really as you can see here, this almost caveman character, this one is called Aloy. So she's amazing. She's your protagonist. And everything's really primitive, but there are these machines which you can see now, and they're like these like critters. I mean, these was like spiders. I'm not sure what they're called because I'm not very far into the game yet. But I love it. The whole thing about it is great. Like you start off as she's like a little kid, and then the opening is quite scary. I thought I was quite tense. I was like, oh god.
Right.
I was expecting to be really like, but like it was so good. And I like the gameplay. I like what it's about. I've just taken down, I think it's called a sawtooth.
Oh, yes. Yes.
But do you know what though? What I really like about this game is that when I play video games, whenever it's something like, whenever I've played like things like God of War, or like when I played Halo, or the Gears of War, things like that, I'm always that guy that runs in with a chainsaw and is like, or I will always pick a shotgun and I'm like running up to their face and I'm just going,
yeah, right.
That's the way I play. But this has completely changed the way that I look at playing a game. So this game I think relies a lot more on your stealth approaches and how like you figure out how to take down these things. It's not as easy as just running in and bashing.
Yeah.
You can do that, but I don't think you'd last very long.
It's not the proper strategy, no. Yeah.
No, and so like it really makes you think about the game and how you're playing it. And I'll be honest, I actually quite like it. It may have affected how I play my characters in other games.
That's great. Actually,
and also like the thing, yeah, and you know, it's one of them. Like it's like Sony. It's kind of. I think the impression I'm getting is it's going to be quite story based. I think it's like because there's a lot of like actors in there, and like there's a lot of like cutscenes from like speaking and stuff, and the voice acting's pretty good so far. I think I'm still early doors. I have no idea where it's going to go. I'm not sure about where the story's going to take us, but I am sold. If you want that kind of stealthy, kind of like solving problems kind of game, I think this is a good. But still get some action in there. I think this is a really good game.
Yeah, no, it makes you right. You know, can I tell you what I really, really like about the game? Is the fact that, as you said, it's set in the very far future, right?
Yeah.
So first thing off, you're like, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
This is the future. Exactly. Why are we caveman style? And why are those machines / robots wandering around?
Yeah.
And that kind of like got me thinking, oh, what? You know, I was like straight away intrigued to kind of like understanding what the hell happened. Right?
Yeah.
So why has this happened, and trying to kind of like piece the puzzle together. Also, I actually found Aloy quite endearing as a character.
Yeah, I did. I liked her. I liked her kind of. She has like a kind of father figure called Ross.
Yeah.
I really liked him. I intend to grow a beard like him. just comes down to like.
I think it would suit you. I think it would really, really suit you. Please do that. By the way, we've got some comments. Same guy as before. Horizon is the game of the millennium. Well, there you go. So yeah, 100%. It's, by the way,
is Horizon the game of the millennium the same way in which Chinese democracy was the album of the millennium?
Ooh, Guns N' Roses here.
Yes, yeah.
Very good question.
No, the answer is no. Horizon is good.
All right.
I'm sorry, Axl Rose. And also, by the way, you guys won't know her, but Rick and I do know her. Aline is actually watching us.
Hello!
And she says, hey guys, looking good.
Thanks, Aline.
That's right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So do you.
So do you.
As always.
All the time, yeah. So yeah, no, Horizon, by the way, I don't know if we said it, but it's a PS exclusive.
Yeah, it's just
actually, I don't know if you guys know, it was a PS exclusive because they've just announced maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago that this is actually coming to PC. So So Sony is actually going to release it for PC as well. Of course, they maintain the intellectual property. So, that's their game. They can do whatever the hell they want, right? But a lot of people were shocked, actually. You should have seen it. As soon as that was announced, a lot of people were like, oh my God, I'm not going to buy PlayStation anymore. What the hell are you doing, Sony? I'm like, everyone chill out. That game's not old, but it's been there for a few years. It sold a lot of copies on the PlayStation. I think it's good that Sony explores new territories and try to lure people in to kind of like show them what they're missing, right?
Yeah.
And I think
that's it. That was always the thing when I had an Xbox, and I obviously get the exclusives for Xbox. But then you see the PlayStation exclusives, and you're like, oh man, like if I got the chance to play them, I'd maybe buy a PlayStation. So
that's my point.
Like, maybe it turns your head a little bit. I think it's a good move.
That's exactly my point there. But there's a lot of sour people out there feeling betrayed by this.
Sour? Never.
Right. Just don't go on YouTube and look at the comments. Completely different game right here, right now. It's Claudio's turn. What the hell are you playing right now?
So, a little introduction first. I am playing a lot right now. I went back from, zero or almost non-existing gamer life to it's again my teenage all over the place,
Woohoo!
With all the pros and cons of the teenage. But the good news is I restarted actively playing PES, an old love of mine, Pro Evolution Soccer by Konami.
Or should we say Efootball PES 2020?
Yeah, sure. I apologize. Efootball, but man, I played this since it was called ISS Pro. I don't know if
that is,
this, but on PlayStation 1
it was ISS Pro 100%. And Ronaldo was kind of like
difficult. Yeah, and Ronaldo was called
Rondello or Rolando, something like that.
Yeah, Ron Barron, I believe.
I used to love that about Pro Evo, is that you could select your team, but it was just like a completely different team with different names of players. I thought it was genius.
Exactly. You're like, who the hell are these people? Like,
who the hell are the Middlebrook Wanderers?
Right. But yeah, we've got some footage of PES. Actually, this is footage from straight from you, Claudio. Can I?
Master League. Yeah, it's my glorious Claudiopolis.
Right.
My teams have always been Claudiopolis, in the last 20 years, I think.
I love the name, like straight from ancient, Greek Claudiopolis.
That's my home, that's my town. I originally come from Cagliari, but in slang it's Claudiopolis.
Yeah, of course.
But I apologize because it's actually in Italian, but you can figure it out. I mean, but
we'll get Italian fans.
Yeah, right.
But it's the language.
Actually, I have a question already to everyone. Is Peter Crouch really still playing?
I think I love Peter Crouch, by the way. I think Peter Crouch is an absolute legend. But I think he recently retired.
I thought so, but it's clearly there in Claudiopolis starting 11.
Good. But that's exactly the beauty of the Master League. That's seriously my favorite feature. I know that many people dislike it, but that's what I love so much, is that you start your season, time passes by, and retired players, they will respawn in your youth sector even sometimes.
Yeah.
So I happen to have a very young, 16 years old Crouch. He's probably the son of Peter.
Yeah.
And I
bless him. Bless him.
I had to sign him. Yeah. And I must agree with Rick. I love the man. I mean, I even share a bit the physicality of Peter Crouch.
That's actually true. You're very tall, actually. Yeah.
I'm that kind of player, even in real life. I can't do. Can we curse, actually? I can't do anything with my feet, but I have a header. That's the only thing I can do. And I'm tall. That's the only thing I can do. But but about PES, I mean, I must clarify, I have never been, even if I love PES, and I've always loved PES, I also respect FIFA. I normally am the kind of person that either ping pong, so 1 year PES, 1 year FIFA, 1 year PES, or I actually I had quite often both of them.
Right.
And I love them, of course, for I think for the same reasons for which everyone loves them. Like when I want to have more storytelling experience, I go for FIFA, of course, especially in the last years with the whole story mode. Although it's my understanding that it has been removed from this year. I don't know because I still didn't play FIFA 2020.
As far as I know, I've not played FIFA 2020, but as far as I know, they removed Juventus, or Juventus to say it in Italian. It's now called Piemonte Calcio, which I find quite hilarious as an Italian.
And that's funny because PES didn't have the Juventus license last year.
And now they do.
So I think that we were playing back in the days, with PES 5, PES 6. Because remember, back in the days, PES didn't even use the year. It was just number.
Yeah.
And PES 5 and 6, if I'm not mistaken, were those where they still didn't take themselves super seriously. As in, the game was super serious and realistic. But they still had the Velociraptor costumes, the Penguins costumes. I don't know how familiar you guys with PES, but basically you could really play with animals to suit. And I kind of would like that to get back, actually. So Konami, if you're listening, please bring that back. I want to play Penguins against Raptors.
I don't know, because Konami right now doesn't even bring Silent Hill back. Konami, look at me. This is my pissed off face.
This is a very angry face.
Oh.
Right.
When I heard about Silent Hills, I mourned. I mean, that whole PT thing, I was awake for days after that.
Oh yeah.
PT, don't even PT.
Don't even. There were rumors like last week that apparently Sony was going to acquire the licenses, like the intellectual properties off of Konami of like Silent Hill, Metal Gear, and Castlevania. Which, as soon as I saw those rumors, like, yeah, it's bullshit. There's no way Konami is going to sell them. I mean, they should really, because they're not doing anything with those titles. If I'm not mistaken.
Now Kojima's gone from Metal Gear.
Oh, yeah. With Death Stranding. Has anyone played Death Stranding, by the way?
No. I've been tempted to, but I've been such a mixed bag. What I've heard, so some people have said this is a really great game. Others people have said you're just walking with a backpack.
Yeah, walking simulator.
Yeah, I'm just like, what do I do?
Yeah.
It looks good, but I just.
I had exactly the same feedback of Rick, by the way, and that is, I heard literally, I think from you, Lore, it could be like, oh, you are the kind of person that is gonna love this kind of game.
Yeah,
I think it was you, and then somebody else told me exactly the opposite. Oh, I think you're the kind of person that's gonna hate this kind of game.
What about Death Stranding?
Yeah, Death Stranding. Yeah.
The personality test.
Yeah, probably it's about me. It's not about Death Stranding.
Okay, so basically, I'm gonna say something. Death Stranding, I've not played it, but stemming from Rick and Claudio's, I heard the same things, right? So it's safe to say that Death Stranding, it's kind of like the band Queen. You either hate them or you love them.
And I'm obviously gonna love this game.
Here we go then.
Obviously love this game. Right, where is it? I'm going. See you later.
All right. Well, Claudio, was there anything else you wanted to say about PES? Because I agree with you in terms of the customization of the characters. I remember you had like a footballer with a big dog's head at some point on your roster.
The level of customization that was possible back in the days was amazing. You could literally put animals' head. Even the haircuts were the kind of haircuts, the styles were much less serious than nowadays. So I remember, for instance, there was the Goku haircut, Super Saiyan style. Or I remember I literally created Heihachi Mishima from Tekken, so with the hair like this, and he was, I think, 60 years old or something. I think I made all the kind of famous characters I could. And nowadays, of course, even the editor is a bit more serious, so you cannot anymore have those crazy features. That's the only thing I miss in PES.
Me and Dave. So I've never played. I've never really been into FIFA or Pro Evo.
Yeah.
But I did have the games when I was a lot younger, and I did enjoy them. But I got switched off them because I would buy it every year, and I was like, this is kind of just the same.
Oh yeah.
I'd buy FIFA like every year, and then when I got my PlayStation, I got FIFA included in the game. And me and Dave. Me and Dave.
Yeah. The person right underneath you. Yeah.
me and Dave.
Come on, man. You know where I am.
Yeah.
Don't be like that. My bad.
We sat down and we played some FIFA, and I think we played about 6 games in total. We lost 5 of them, and then we won the last one, and then we gladly retired from
Yeah, we retired
You're like,
victorious.
Dave, you are playing a game that intrigues me a lot.
Yes. So I have just started playing Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord. Now, this was announced in 2012. It's the sequel to Mountain Blade Warband, which has such a cult following on things like Reddit and so on. Now, what I'm showing you the game here isn't really a great example of all of it. This is one of those games where it's an action RPG. You start off, you can barely swing a sword. You come up against like a looter, the worst enemy in the entire game, and if there's 2 of them, you're gonna die. However, it's such a good game. It's not got like a strong story or anything like that. This is a full-on sandbox RPG. And one thing Rick's going to enjoy about this: 47 beard options in character creation.
Woo!
Right?
I'm fully in.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Now, this game is fantastic. Made by Tailworlds. Low fantasy, so you're kind of in this sort of medieval setting. Everything's all the different sort of factions take on different cultures. The one you can see on screen is this kind of like Celtic Italian and Celtic Irish style. It's absolutely such a good game. You go from being someone that's just started adventuring and you're like trading, desperately trying to stay alive, and then eventually you're leading armies of like 300-400 trying to become king or emperor of this huge land. It's fantastic. Unfortunately, early access, 9 out of 10 on Steam, but it is PC only.
Yeah, so early access.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, I'm normally quite against early access games because they tend to be buggy messes, but this one's actually been alright. Bit of sticking from here and there. Every so often you think it might have crashed and then it hasn't.
Right.
It's really quite something.
In terms of expectation, because obviously you said that this game has been in development for quite some time.
8 years.
Wow.
8
years is...
Yeah, they announced it in 2012.
So that's 9.
Bloody hell. In terms of expectations, do you think it's kind of like matching what you were expecting? And,
So it is very much still in the same style, and if anyone's ever played the prequel Warband, it's really good, but it's got its own sort of issues. Generally, if you're a fan of Mountain Blade Warband, you are going to enjoy Bannerlord.
Yeah.
But it's got the same sort of quirks, the same charm, but also the same flaws. Like,
right.
Sometimes running around can be a bit clunky. There's no voice acting aside from just screams in battle, things like that. And although there is a story, it's forgettable, and I keep forgetting that there are main quests that I should be doing.
Oh, it's one of those games where you're like wandering around, and you're like, wait, hang on, what was I doing again?
Yeah, full sandbox. Like, there is a thing I think I'm supposed to save my family. I don't know. I keep forgetting about them.
I'm supposed to say my family, but who cares?
There's a tournament over here. I've got to go people. It's.
That reminds me on
only you lead an army.
That reminds me on The Witcher when we just talked to the Baron. For those of you who play The Witcher, and he's telling you some very important and gruesome stuff, and then all of a sudden he's like, "Do you want to play a round of Gwent?" Yes, I'm the best at Gwent.
It's like, So find your daughter. Yeah. Let's play some cards.
That was a quick recap of our first ever podcast. Now, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please subscribe and click on the notification bell so that you're notified every time that we post new content. More than anything, we would love to know what games you are playing at the moment and why do you think they're good. So leave us a comment in the comment section down below. Also, we will be streaming live on Twitch as well as YouTube this coming Thursday, April 16th, UK time 6 p.m. In the meantime, I hope you have a great one. See you all there.